Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Through the Fire. I am your host, Ryan Wickline, and today we are joined by a very special guest. He is Mr. Productivity, Mark Struczewski. How you doing today, Mark?
Well, I'm doing great considering this morning it was 29 degrees here in Houston, but it's warmed up to the 50s, so I'm a happy guy now.
Well, I'm here in Ohio, and today it was, in the teens? Single digits, so I'll definitely trade you any day of the week. So the number one question the audience is probably wondering, who is Mark Struczewski?
I have no idea. No. So I am a person who thrives in helping people get unstuck. So no one's ever come to me and says, "Hey, I want to be more productive." They come to me because they're overwhelmed, they're fatigued, they're tired, they're angry, they're frustrated. And I help them to get the opposite of all those things I just mentioned, because it's very difficult to be productive in a world when you are wound up and you're tied up in a bunch of knots. And so I love helping people get unoverwhelmed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You worked in the corporate world, right?
Yes, sir.
What exactly did you do?
For many years, and I don't know the exact number of years, I was in inventory management. And I don't know why I got into this. It was not a career that was my calling, definitely. And it was a lot of counting. It was trying to track down why parts were missing from this location or that location. And it really wasn't lighting me up. But thankfully, I mean, not at the time, but now I look back on it. Thankfully, I was fired back in 2005, because had I not been fired, would I even be doing this now?
Huh. So luck would have it that firing kind of led you to your true purpose in life then.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose coaching of all things?
I didn't choose coaching. Coaching chose me. And let me explain. So when I got fired back in 2005, I decided to become an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. So what? Who cares? So I decided to be a wedding and portrait photographer. Now, remember, this is back in 2005. We had Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email marketing, and direct mail. That's it. But I wanted to figure out, how can I promote my photography business without having to compete on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And so, uncharacteristic of me, because I am, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. If I'm not the center of the attention, I'm an introvert. I don't like to speak. Well, I should say I didn't like to speak except in front of an audience, except in front of an empty room. So one day, for reasons I to this day don't understand why, I went up to one of the ladies in our Bible study class who was a professional speaker. And I said, "Hey, I hate speaking in front of people. How do I become a professional speaker?" And she gave me the tips on how to go down that road. And now I'm a speaker, a podcaster. And as anybody who has followed me at all knows, I'm not camera shy. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, I'm not afraid to talk in front of people. But I still don't like small talk. So if I go to like a dinner party, I don't like doing small talk. But if I'm on the stage, it could be in front of one person, 100 people, 1,000 people. I don't care. But it all flipped when I became a speaker.
Huh. We got a lot of similarities in there where we don't like to deal with the small talk. I think you think that might be because it kind of ruins your productivity.
Well, most people's small talk is about weather. It's about sports. And I'm kind of an oddball when it comes to sports. I fell in love with European football, what I believe the true football is. We call it soccer here in the States years ago. And it's the only sport I watch. And it's not hyperbole. I don't watch any other sport. I love the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, EFL Cup, which is known as the Caribou Cup. And I just love that sport so much. And so very few people in the Houston area talk about my football. they're talking about the NFL, they're talking about the NBA, Major League Baseball, NASCAR, Formula One. I don't care about those sports. I love my football. So most people, when they engage in small talk, they're just talking because they don't know what else to say. And I can't come into them and say, hey, so where are your roadblocks when it comes to being productive? And I'm like, what are you, weird? So I don't do a lot of small talks.
I like it. What kind of services do you provide?
Well, I like taking people's money and then running away to a distant country and spending it foolishly. No, I'm just kidding. I do one-on-one coaching. So I tried the group coaching. I tried the courses. Nobody wants to work with me that way. They want one-on-one attention with me. And I, be honest with you, I kind of like that because when people are one-on-one with you, they're more vulnerable. They're going to tell you their biggest weaknesses. If you get in the group setting, you don't want to tell some, I'm a procrastinator, I'm not getting things done. So what happens in the group setting is because we're holding back, we're not giving the best of what we can. What I mean by the best, I mean our worst problems, so we get the best outcomes, the best results. And so one-on-one attention, it's nobody is listening in. It's just me and the client. And we have a lot more breakthroughs that way. Now, I'm not saying every coach is like that. I'm saying the clients that come to me, they prefer the one-on-one.
What would you say probably the biggest challenge your clients face is?
They're doing way too much. They're putting more things on their already overloaded plate, and they come to me overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. And the first thing I tell them is like, okay, you have to stop and you have to breathe because you're headed toward a breakdown, not a breakthrough, which is a good thing. You're headed toward a breakdown because you're doing too much. You're going into work really early. You're working through lunch. You're staying late. You're going on the weekends. You're working at home, and that's not going to last. And so the people who come to me struggle most with putting too much on their plate.
Do you think that might be because they're scared to say no to things that aren't going to help them?
Yeah, saying no is a big thing. There is an epidemic of people pleasing. We don't like to hurt other people in any way, any form, any grade, any degree. We don't like to hurt other people. Most of us who are normal human beings, we don't like to say no to someone because we're afraid of hurting them. Well, if you look at the most successful people in the world today, they say no all the time. They know what their mission is. And if someone comes along and asks a question and it does not contribute to the mission, if they're having a good day and they have some extra time, they may help you. But most times they're going to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I'm focused on my mission.
Huh. You talk a lot about helping clients set goals that scare them and actually work. Can you give us some insight into your method?
Well, I got to give credit to Grant Cardone because I read in his book, The 10X Rule, many years ago. He said you should set really scary goals because if you make $100,000 in 2025 and you go, what is my goal for 2026 going to be? Well, I don't want to not make my goal, so I'll play it safe and do 125,000. Well, why don't you go for $1 million? And what Grant says, and by the way, I don't know Grant, I just read it in his book. He says, would you rather fall short of $1 million goal or $125,000 goal? So if you make the goal $1 million and then you only get 500,000, well, I'm not a math major, but I'm pretty sure 500,000 is more than 125,000. And so I get caught in this myself. I will write my goals down. I'm like, oh man, that's kind of lame, Mark. You teach this. What is this lame goal? And here's the thing. When you write your goals down every day in your journal, which I believe you should do every day, you write your goals down, not once a week. Don't think about them. Don't say them out loud. Although you can do that. You need to write them down. If the goals don't scare you, then you're doing it wrong. Because when you're writing your goals down, You're just writing your goals down. So if I write down, I made $100,000 this year and I want to make $1 million next year. So I write down, I make $1 million in 2026. Well, nothing's happened yet, right? I mean, no, Elon Musk didn't come to my house and give me $1 million. It's just a goal, but I am surprised the number of people who are scared to write down huge goals. I'm like, there are no goals, please. Nobody's going to come to your house and go, let me see your goals. So we have to get over the fear of writing these goals down. And I can tell you, I study high performance people. They don't write weak goals. They write goals that are stretch goals, and then they stretch them a little bit farther, a little bit further, a little bit further. Think of a rubber band. They keep pulling the rubber band until just before it breaks. And we need to do that with our goal setting.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I'm from the same school as you, where I've always heard that if people aren't laughing at your goals, they're not big enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because, it forces you to grow.
Yeah, it goes with everything in life. People, if you're going through and people going, yeah, good job. First of all, who is giving you feedback? So if your Uncle Fred, who worked in the factory for 30 years, never made more than $50,000 a year, now all he does is sit on his porch with his pack of cigarettes and drinks coffee all day and criticize you, you maybe shouldn't listen to Uncle Fred. You can hang out with Uncle Fred, but maybe you shouldn't listen to him. I try to follow people who are way beyond where I am now, where I want to go. And if someone gives me unsolicited advice, the first thing I do silently in my head is like, okay, are these people even close to where I want to go? The answer is no. I just politely nod and go, okay, thanks, move on. I just quickly delete it. I just select all and delete, and I'm done. But we have to be careful who we're following on social media, in real life, family, friends, neighbors, because you want people who are going to encourage you. People who are, here's the thing, successful people, if you tell them, I made $100,000 this year, I want to make $1 million in 2026, they'll go for it. You could do it. But Uncle Fred's going to go, who are you kidding? You're not, listen, $100,000 as a fluke. You're not even going to make that much next year. Why are you listening to Uncle Fred? You need to be listening to the people who are successful. And a lot of people hang around the same people all the time. They follow the same influencers all the time, but they're not doing anything. They're just endlessly scrolling. They're just endlessly listening. Well, are these people actually where you want to be someday? If the answer is no, why are you giving them any of your brain cells?
Yeah. So how important would you say it is to get around the right environment of people then?
Well, I was born in 1965, so I grew up around the cartoon of Winnie the Pooh. If you're not familiar with it, go to YouTube, type in Winnie the Pooh. But Winnie the Pooh was a happy-go-lucky bear. He didn't wear pants, but probably couldn't happen in 2025. But anyways, and then there's Tigger. Tigger was annoyingly optimistically happy. And then we have Piglet and Christopher Robin, and we have Eeyore. And here's the thing. If you want to be a happy person, because happy people tend to be more productive people, you got to hang around Winnie the Pooh's. Just, again, make sure you're wearing pants. Or Tiggers, or Piglets, or Christopher Robin. Maybe even Owl, although Owl was kind of like, he was reserved, but he's kind of a smart guy. You don't want to hang around Eeyore's. Eeyore's, if you're not familiar, he's like, it's never going to work out. I'm never going to land the beat client. It's going to rain today. My house is going to get foreclosed on. He's a Debbie Downer. You don't want to hang around Eeyore's. We love Eeyore, but we don't want to hang around them. We want to hang around people who are succeeding, or even if they're not succeeding. How many times you run across someone and you ask them how they're doing? I'm doing great. What's going on? Well, I just, got evicted out of my house, and I got to rent one of those weekly hotels, and I don't know how I'm going to feed my family this week. And they're looking at you smiling like, what's wrong with you? Like, oh, I'm alive, right? My kids are alive. My wife is alive. It's like, and people think money equals happiness. No. If you're miserable now and I give you $1 million, you're going to be a miserable millionaire, or you're going to spend it real quickly and you're going to be back to being a miserable broke person.
Yeah. How important is it to have consistent daily routines when attacking your goals?
Consistency is such a powerful topic. You have to be consistent in almost everything you do, whether that's your morning routine, whether that's your bedtime routine, whether that's your diet. The body loves consistency, and part of your body is the brain. It loves consistency. That's why I'm in bed asleep by 8:30 every night, 7 days a week. I'm up between 4 and 4:30, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I don't have any trouble getting to 4:30. Why? It's consistency. If you want to write a book, you can't write a book a little bit on Monday and then wait till Thursday and then the following Wednesday. You write a book every day. Writers write. Video people create videos. Podcasters create podcasts. And so if you want to become a stronger, more productive version of yourself, you have to embrace consistency. Now, for example, I run every day. I've been running at least 1 mile every day since August 29, 2017. Do I want to run every day? Of course not. There are days I just don't want to run, but I run anyways. And that is to teach your listeners that consistency is so powerful for you, your life, your productivity, your mental and physical well-being.
What would you say is probably maybe the number one habit that you've developed in your routines?
I have so many routines and so many habits. I would have to say getting out of my own way. So, for example, my morning routine is I get up between 4 and 4:30, and within 90 seconds, I'm from my nice, cozy, warm bed, and I'm in my cold shower. Now, I know I live in Houston, Texas, and cold showers aren't the same as cold showers up where you are. However, when you're going from a warm, toasty bed and you're going to a cold shower, it's still jolting. I do it every day. No fails. And then when I'm done with that, I get dressed from my head to my ankles. I go outside and I squat for 4 minutes while I ground my bare feet on the ground. I do the squatting for my hip flexors. No excuses. And so you have to create routines that are going to serve you, but are consistent. See, everybody has a morning routine. Most people's routines is scattered. It's different every day, but you have a routine. You do something in the morning. You do something at bedtime. You do something on the way to work, but you have to be consistent. You have to come up with routines. But while these podcasts are interesting, I think people need to figure out, how can I listen to podcasts or read books or read blogs or see people on social media? How can I take what I'm learning and apply it to my life? My wife and I are empty nesters. You may have 5 kids at home. Well, you may not be able to do the exact thing I do, but you could do something. And so one thing I don't like is excuses. Too many people make excuses about why they can't do this, that, and the other thing. Well, again, going back to what I said earlier, I've studied many successful people in my life, and I don't know anybody's gotten to the level they are by making excuses.
Yeah. How do you get your clients to stay consistent through all the chaos?
I give them tough love. So I'm not one of these coaches that, let's say one of my programs has got one call every 3 times a month. So you can do it every week, 3 of the 4 weeks a month. But I don't just forget you. If we commit to something, I'm going to be reaching out to you, text message, DMs or something, go, hey, we had a call 3 days ago. What's up with this? I mean, here we had a call on Tuesday. Now it's Friday, and I know you're probably not going to do anything on the weekend. So I try to give them more accountability. A lot of coaches don't do that. A lot of coaches are like, well, no, they only pay for my coaching calls. No other access. The problem is that they get on a call with you 30, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever. And then it's a whole week before they're on the call with you again. And I want every client of mine to succeed. And sometimes they need a little nudge. I'll say, okay, you're going to make this call tomorrow to this prospect. Well, when you're done, text me. And they're like, seriously? Yeah. So now they know they can't bail on the call because they know if I don't hear from them, I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to say, okay, make the call. And so accountability is very powerful.
I love that. I mean, then you'll see it with a lot of different coaches that they don't reach out and they don't give them that extra like accountability, as you say, and most people need that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it helps build a stronger relationship between the client and coach.
Yep.
What else do you kind of do with them to kind of show them that busyness is not really productivity?
I like to say you can be busy being productive, but just because you're busy doesn't mean you're being productive. What I tell people to do is to write down what they're going to do tomorrow. You don't have to get granular and say, I'm going to do it from 1 to 3. You can, but you don't have to. You need to get your, I like pocket journals and write down, what are you going to do tomorrow? Now, don't go crazy. A lot of productivity people out there saying, what are the 3 things you're going to do tomorrow? Write them down. I don't like the number because maybe you only have to do 1 thing tomorrow. And the problem is people think of 1 thing and they go, well, I'll put these 2 rubbish ones on there. And you do the 2 rubbish ones and you don't do the main thing. So maybe you got to do 1 thing. Maybe you got to do 4 things. Maybe you got to do 7 things. But don't be unrealistic. Don't say, I'm going to do these 14 things tomorrow, because you're probably not going to do any of them. So don't overwhelm yourself, but write down. And I do mean write down. Don't put it in an app or on your computer or your calendar. Write it down, because there's something powerful when you take one of these things called a pen and you write it down. It gets wired in your brain differently. And write down what you're going to do tomorrow. And if you don't know, well, that's a big clue. Go, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Maybe I should give myself 5 or 10 minutes and think about, what can I do tomorrow that's going to move the needle toward my goals? Do I have goals? Oh, I don't even have goals. Oh, now we have to rewind even further. And now before we start planning, maybe your thing to do tomorrow is, hey, write goals, create goals, because it's very difficult to plan your day when you have no idea what you're going to do tomorrow. I mean, like, take the GPS. If I want to go to visit my hometown of Rochester, New York, and I get in my car and I don't tell the GPS I want to go to Rochester, I just pull on my driveway and start driving, I'm never going to make it to Rochester. So you got to have an idea where you want to go. And this is the fun part of life. Dream. What do you want to do? Let your mind go crazy. Maybe you have a brainstorming session with yourself. I have a whiteboard behind me. I like whiteboarding things or writing things in my journal. What do you want to do? And a lot of people, sadly, I ask them what they want to do. They're like, I don't know. Never thought about it. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem, because you're only on this planet for a few years. Most people don't come to their senses until they're about their 40s or 50s. Okay, so now you got about 40 years left. What are you going to do? And I think people need to spend time figuring out what they want to do, not just go along. And then you get to the end of your life, you're on your deathbed and go, man, I'm so unhappy. I didn't do half the things I wanted to do because you didn't figure out what you wanted to do. So I implore everyone, please, if you don't know what you want to do, you have to come out with some idea of a dream, a goal, and then you come up with mini goals, and you come up with the steps to get those goals, to get your dream. A lot of people just go, I hope I make it to Friday. Making it to Friday is not a goal.
Why do you think so many people live life like that, without any direction or any clarity or self-awareness about what they want?
Part of it, I think, has to do with our technology. Although, if you're an adult, I don't blame the technology. I don't blame the apps. It's your fault. I also believe that people are lazy. I'm just going to call it what it is. I also think it's because they haven't been taught. So I'm an avid reader. I'm always reading a book, and I mean a physical book. And as a matter of fact, to demonstrate something, that why I read every day, I just learned something today, that the person says, always bring a book with you everywhere you go. And I'm like, wow, I always leave my books at home. And that's a great idea. You bring a book, just throw your book in the car. What happens if you get stuck in traffic? What happens if you get stuck behind a long train, or your spouse wants to go run in the store and you don't want to go in the store? What are you going to do? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Why? And so I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start bringing a book with me in the car everywhere I go. If my wife wants to stop by the store, I'll sit in the car and read. So the answer to your question is, a lot of it has to do with laziness. A lot of it is our default is to going into technology like social media. Cal Newport wrote in one of his books, I believe it was Digital Minimalism. He's known for deep work, but he's got a fantastic book called Digital Minimalism. He talks about embrace the boredom. In this day and age, we are terrified of being bored. I used to remember when I was young, I used to complain to my mom, I'm bored. She goes, being bored's good for you. Little did mom know how smart she was. Being bored is awesome. I don't mean bored mindlessly scrolling on TikTok. I mean, you're bored because you're bored. You're not doing anything. It's okay to be bored. I want to give everyone permission to be bored.
You touched on it a little bit right here too on what you learn reading. Why do you think so many people have all this technology and books, podcasts at their fingertips, but don't take any of the lessons learned in what they're actually listening to or reading?
Believe it or not, I think a lot of it has to do with fear, because people are comfortable. They may not think they're comfortable, but they're comfortable. I once heard the story many years ago. I don't remember where I heard it, but it's kind of like wetting your own diaper or messing your own diaper. You're like, yeah, it's stink, it's gooey, but it's mine. It's comfortable. But if it's someone else's, it's kind of gross, right? So I think people get comfortable. They get comfortable. Well, what if I learn something and then I get these dreams and these desires and these goals to pursue something else? Oh man, I got to work. What if I don't get weekends off anymore? Oh, what if I got to go into work early? What if I got to be at 4:00 in the morning? Endless excuses. And I think that's part of the reason why people, they don't like to step out of their comfort zone. And matter of fact, my favorite quote ever is by Steve Harvey from Family Feud. He says, if you're ever going to be successful, if you ever truly want to be successful, you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And a lot of people that I see walking around this planet don't want to be uncomfortable. They like to be nice and comfy with their TikTok and their Instagram and their favorite drink and their favorite food. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. I know a lot of people like this. Well, listen, when I go running in my shorts in 35-degree weather, that's not exactly comfortable, but I know it's making me healthier. So I don't make excuses.
Yeah. Is there anything else you do really to put yourself in them uncomfortable positions to make it easier when it is time to go for like a bigger goal?
I'd like to compete against myself. So I use an app on iOS and Mac called Streaks. You can get any habit tracker app on your app store. And every time I complete a streak, I mark it complete and the number goes up. Like as of the date of this recording, I've run 3,031 days in a row. Now people go, well, so what? Do you really think I'm going to take a day off and have that number to go to 1? No. My cold showers over 700 days. Grounding, regardless of the weather, which is bare feet on the ground. It's over 700 days. I remember when we got snow back on January 21st, I shoveled a 6 foot by 6 foot section in my backyard. We got 4 inches of snow, and I stood there for 4 or 5 minutes. I don't make excuses. And people will marvel at my streaks like, oh my gosh, how'd you do that? It all starts day one. My running streak, day one. Cold shower streak, day one. You've got to start. Nobody can do it for you. You have got to say, I want to do X every day. And then make today day one. Don't say, well, it's kind of cold up here. I'll do in the spring. No, if you don't start it today, you're not going to start it. You're not going to start it. So stop procrastinating and just do it.
Wow, I applaud you on some of that. I mean, that streak for running that many days in a row. I mean, that's pretty tough. Not too many people would have followed through to get that far.
Nope.
Distractions are everywhere right now. What tips do you have to avoid distractions?
Number one, disable vibration mode on your phone. That's number one, because if you mute your phone and put it on the desk and you get a text or call, it's going to vibrate. So disable vibration mode. Do what I call a notification cleanse. Go through every app on your phone. And if you have the notification enabled, ask yourself, is this notification serving me or distracting me? Turn off the notifications for all social media, for email, news apps. Matter of fact, get news apps off your phone entirely. Sports apps. Only keep the really critical notifications on, like credit card and debit card purchases alerts, maybe the weather, maybe like I like DMs turned on because a lot of my clients and friends DM me, but be really hardcore when you turn these things off. And I think the third thing would be is it's okay to walk outside without your device. It really is. It's okay to go for a walk without your device. It really is. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have them, and I made it just fine to 2025 and hopefully for many years to come. So those are my 3 ideas.
Nice. You host the Mr. Productivity podcast. What inspired you to start podcasting?
2 words, Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V. So in the spring of 2017, happened to catch one of his videos where he said, the future is voice and audio, and everybody needs to have a podcast. Most people probably saw that and the countless other videos he did, even today, that talks about it, did nothing. They go, oh, nice. Okay, and went on to the next thing. I went to Google and typed in, how do you start a podcast? And on July 7, 2017, I started it. And I've got well over 1,350 episodes now.
Nice. What would you say is probably the biggest challenge you faced when you started or right now?
In terms of podcasting?
Yeah.
To stop listening to other people who are not interested in helping me give me criticism. Like I've been on some shows where they said, why are your episodes so long? This is back when I was doing interviews. I'm like, well, first of all, there's a pause button. I don't know if you know this new technology called the pause button. Second thing is, I've had guests actually tell me on my show, well, why are we going to do a long podcast? I would never listen to a long podcast. I'm like, well, you are on the show, so why would you be listening to your own podcast? So I think I was listening to the wrong people when I started, and I just do it for fun. I don't have a Joe Rogan podcast. I don't have a Diary CEO podcast. I don't get billions of downloads an episode. I do it because I love the platform of podcasting. I think it's pretty cool that right now somebody is out on a walk, on a run, on a plane, and we're in their ears. And I just think that's so cool.
Yeah. So do you do the long form then where it's like a couple hours long?
Right now I'm doing solo episodes and they're between 9 and 15 minutes. When I was doing interviews, which I haven't done in about 9 months, they went between 30 minutes and an hour and a half.
Oh, so they would say to me that mine are too long then.
Well, I think, what is too long? I mean, if you had a podcast that's 4 minutes and it talks about cryptocurrency, it's too long for me. I don't care about cryptocurrency. However, if the podcast was about the Premier League and my favorite team, Man City, in 3 hours, that may not be long enough. So I think it depends on if you're interested in the topic. You can't just say, well, 2 hours is too long. I've listened to podcasts. I just listened to a podcast about AI. I'm fascinated by AI and, the future of AI. I'll listen to a couple podcasts. They're over 3 hours long. It took me a while to get through them because I only listen to podcasts on my daily runs. And I didn't think it was too long because I was interested in the guests and I was interested in the topic. So I didn't think it was too long. If you're not interested in AI, you go 3 hours. I'm not listening to all that. Well, then don't. It's okay. That's the beauty of podcasting.
Yeah, I like it too, because to actually get to know the guest and to kind of hear their story and to get information from them, to find out their why, you kind of got to have a longer than a 10-minute conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
And I think it adds a lot more value to the listeners too.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is probably the most rewarding part for you in podcasting?
I think, again, it goes back to I'm speaking to each individual person individually. I know I said individually twice, but when people watch videos, they may put the video up on their big screen and whole family watches it, but nobody has a podcast listening to party. And so I imagine when I'm recording my episodes, people aren't walking their dogs or out for a walk and taking their kid in the stroller, or they're in the car. I just think it's so cool that they're actually listening to me talk to them about productivity. I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, I like it. What are your short-term and long-term goals?
To make a lot of money. And let me qualify that. So I was raised by parents who didn't talk a lot about money. And they used to think rich people are evil. And then Grant Cardone said something that really struck with me. I heard this years ago. He says, when you make a lot of money, you can help a lot of people. And I'll never forget that, because if you're just barely making ends meet, and then let's say someone you know has a catastrophe in their lives and you can't help them, that sucks. You're just like, well, I'm sorry. But what if you can say, listen, I'm going to put you guys in the hotel. I don't care about the hotel your insurance is going to pay for. We'll put you at the nice hotel. We're going to pay for it for as long as you want to be there. But you got to have money to do that. Or let's say somebody you know who's a single mother with 2 kids and their car breaks down. Instead of chipping into a fund to buy her a beater, what if you go out and buy her a brand new car with bumper-to-bumper warranty? You got to have money to do that. So I want to become really rich so I can help a lot of people. And when I first started saying that, I wanted toys, private plane, private islands, private planets. And then I'm a Christian. So God said, nope, if that's what you want, you're going to make it all about you. No, I'm going to take a lot of money away from you. And he did. And then he said, then I realized, oh, I'm supposed to help other human beings. He goes, now you got it. Oh my goodness. He got it. So I think money is a good thing if you help other people. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah. How has your faith shaped who you are as a person?
Oh, it's everything to me. I mean, I tell people that, like, I read the Bible every day, non-negotiable. And I said, I would share with people, if Elon Musk came to my house, woke me out of bed. He had to get here before 4:00 in the morning, by the way. But if he got here before 4 and woke me out of bed and said, hey, I want to take you on a plane trip. I want to take you to my Tesla, SpaceX. I want to share everything with you. We got to go right now. I'm like, no, I got to read the Bible first. Sorry. And because that is eternal. The Bible is eternal. Where I'm going is eternal. Elon Musk is going to die eventually. And I'm trying not to spend a lot of my time on temporal. I'm more about the eternal. And you don't have to be a Christian. I mean, if you're any kind of faith, don't just say you're that faith. Read your sacred text. And a lot of people, they quote scripture and then I'll ask them about it, like, I read it on Instagram. Okay. So don't quote things you don't understand, because it does make a difference.
Yeah, I love it. How can people get a hold of you?
One-stop shopping. go to my website, MrProductivity.com. You got to spell out Mr. M-I-S-T-E-R, MrProductivity.com. And at the top of my homepage is something called a free productivity scorecard. It's just 10 questions. Go take the quiz. I will send you your score, and you can see how you're doing productively wise. You can also find out at the bottom of my homepage. You can sign up for my email newsletter. You can find out all my links to all my social media platforms, including my Apple Podcasts and Spotify link. It's all at MrProductivity.com.
Awesome. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
Well, I just want to encourage people when they ask me, what is your number one productivity tip? And I say, go outside, take off your shoes and socks, leave your technology behind, and just be quiet for about 5 minutes. I call them micro breaks. If it's raining, they make these things called umbrellas. If it's cold, grab a jacket. Remember, I ground outside in the snow. I don't want to hear excuses. You have to take time away from technology. You have to give your brain a chance to take a deep breath. So many people are go, 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 meeting, call, client, and they're burnt out. So please take care of yourself physically, spiritually, and mentally.
I love it. All right, final question. What is one piece of advice you'd like to leave our listeners with about overcoming adversity?
You can do it. It may not be easy. It may be really, really hard, but you can do it. If you truly want to in your heart, you can overcome anything. But if you play Eeyore and go, well, I guess this is just the way I'm going to be, forget it. You've already lost. But if you say, you know what? I'm going to do this. I don't care how long it takes me. I'm going to do it. Believe that you can do it, and you just might surprise yourself.
Great advice. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your insight with all of us.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that's going to be all the time we have here today. Remember, the only way to get what you want is go through the fire.